Cardi B just got caught in the most embarrassing position of her entire career, and you are not ready for what just leaked. The so-called queen of rap is allegedly out here mobilizing her little army of minion accounts to bury a real one for telling the truth in a booth. Meanwhile, Drake just made history in a way that's quietly ending careers. And Trim really woke up and chose violence, but against her OWN reflection. And Cardi really thought sending DMCA strikes was a strategy. Bro really signed her own clown certificate in broad daylight. Before we get into it, subscribe, don't miss it. Akbar V, the Atlanta spitter Nicki Minaj herself co-signed, dropped a brand new diss snippet aimed straight at Belkis Almanza, aka Cardi B. Captioned, "How it feels to be a ninja six-peak," uploaded to her Instagram. The snippet went up in this current news cycle, days after she crowned herself Princess of Rap and Queen of Atlanta on X. Cardi really thought sending minion accounts and DMCA notices was gonna shut this down. That's a move of somebody who can't write back. Now let's look at the receipts that show why this whole thing backfired. Alright, let me drop these receipts on your one by one, because once you hear it back to back, it's gonna click. Receipt number 1, the Akbar V snippet itself. On her Instagram, Akbar V dropped these exact bars. "How it feels to be a ninja side B, how it feels he got you all up in the mix, how it feel to go from wifey to a trick." Yo, when I heard that wifey to a trick line, I had to rewind it 3 times. Bro said, "What? That's not a bar, that's a homicide." Cardi really got called a ninja side B in 4K, and her response was silence and strikes. That's where she lost the plot. Real talk. Receipt number 2, the Princess of Rap tweet. Right before dropping that snippet, Akbar V hopped on X and crowned herself the Princess of Rap and Queen of Atlanta. Now look, even I gotta be honest, some of y'all might think that title's a stretch. But the fact she felt comfortable enough to throw that crown on while staring at Cardi B's whole catalog, that tells you everything about where body stock is right now in the streets. Receipt number 3, Cardi's own words on plastic surgery. In a now-deleted TikTok, Cardi B looked her camera dead in the lens and said she's never had plastic surgery done to her face. Just a clean denial. Dr. Spiegel facial analysis. When I saw that clip, I was like, nah, we have been watching you. Bro really expected us to forget a decade of evolution. Nah, you can't say that and expect grown people to take you seriously. Receipt number 4, the DMCA pattern. Cardi's social media manager Cam Barbie, allegedly, has been firing off copyright strike notices on creators commenting on the surgery clip, getting videos pulled from channels left and right. Cardi has a documented history of throwing legal threats at outlets. She literally threatened to sue TMZ over a robot video earlier. When I read these creators getting hit with strikes, I was like, so we're punishing people for seeing with their own eyes now. That's the dumbest flex I've ever heard. Receipt number 5, the Drake and Nicki history moment. The Shade Room and Spotify both confirmed Drake just officially joined Nicki Minaj as the ONLY rappers to hit number 1 on the global Spotify chart in 2026 so far. His new song, Make Them Cry, debuted directly at the top with 13.21 million streams worldwide. Both artists are 10+ years deep and still dominating. When that stat dropped, my jaw was on the floor. This is what longevity looks like. Receipt number 6, Drake's full single-day record. Spotify literally verified. On May 15th, 2026, Drake pulled 58.7 million artist streams in a single day, and his album Iceman alone racked up 142.3 million in one day. That's not a comeback. That's a man who never left. Receipt number 7, Trim's #crowned tweet. South Carolina rapper Trim hopped on X and posted #crowned. I don't have to drop again this year. Brew. When I read that, I literally laughed out loud. You wore the wig once and you're retiring? Now, baby, that's hubris season. Now that we got the quotes locked in, let's connect the dots. Alright, here's where the picture starts forming for those of you all paying attention. That Akbar V snippet, it dropped right in the middle of the Stephon Diggs side B entanglement era, the same period where Kaya Barber, allegedly baby mama number 4, walked her son into Super Bowl 60 and sat front row in Diggs' suite while Cardi was reportedly in attendance. So when Akbar said six-peak, that wasn't random, that's a timeline missile. Akbar timed her snippet to land right when the public is still chewing on that Super Bowl humiliation. Cardi really thought nobody would notice the calendar? That's terrible timing on her end. Brew. Then check this. The Diggs and Cardi unfollow happened just days after the Super Bowl, and Diggs allegedly posted an IG status from home with his first son and baby mama Baba only 4 days after the Cardi split. Akbar V watched all of this play out in real time and decided to weaponize it. So when you'll say, where did this beef even come from? It came from Cardi's own personal life imploding in public. Now zoom out. Akbar V isn't just some random OPP. This is somebody who has publicly said she was a bar before Nicki was even fully Nicki. She offered to defend Nicki in court during a recent lawsuit situation. That's not a cosign for clout situation like we see with Trim or Ice Spice. That's a 10-year loyalty receipt. So when Akbar swings at Cardi, she's swinging with a whole movement behind her. Any smart person would have kept Akbar's name out their mouth. But Cardi isn't smart with these moves. Now overlay the Drake-Nicki record. That Spotify single-day record, Drake pulled it May 15th, 2026, right in the same news cycle Cardi's Little Miss Drama tour was still being talked about for its $70 million haul. Yahoo! Little Miss Drama tour numbers, the tour money is real. I'll give Cardi that. But here's the thing. $70 million in tour revenue is impressive until Drake casually does 58.7 M streams in 24 hours and Nicki sits at number 1 on the same chart Cardi hasn't touched. That's when you realize who's playing what league. And about Trim's crowned energy, the timeline is wild. Trim built her entire buzz off Nicki comparisons. Then Nicki herself allegedly started blocking and unfollowing fans who supported Trim. So Trim's "I don't have to drop again" tweet? That came after Nicki publicly distanced herself. So Trim is acting crowned by a queen who isn't even speaking to her anymore. That's a move of somebody with no real advisors. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Now check this out. Nobody's really breaking down the language Akbar chose, so let me do the dirty work. That phrase Ninja Side B. Zoom into just those 3 words. Side B isn't just calling Cardi a side chick. That's vinyl record language. The B-side is a throwaway track, the one nobody asked for, the filler. Akbar V chose that exact phrasing because she's calling Cardi the unwanted track on a man's playlist. That's a triple entendre, relationship, music industry, and legacy positioning, all in 2 syllables. And Cardi really didn't catch that layer? That's embarrassing for somebody who calls herself a Grammy-winning rapper. Now zoom into the phrase six peek. Most people heard sneak peek and moved on. Nah, pull on that thread. 6 lines up with a public counting of Diggs' alleged baby mama tally. So Akbar didn't say snippet or preview. She said 6 peek. That's a telling you the whole diss track is built around the number 6. Cardi thought that was just a cute pun. Nah, brew, that's a roadmap to a full song. If Cardi had half a brain, she would have noticed that before letting her minions tweet. Now flip to the Princess of Rap tweet. The forensic move here is in the title itself. It's the timing. Akbar dropped the crown tweet first, then the snippet after. That sequence isn't accident. That's psychological setup. She forced the internet to argue about her title first, which means by the time the diss bar dropped, every single timeline already had her name trending. That's chess. Cardi's whole side is playing checkers with broken pieces. Then the Cardi plastic surgery clip itself. Forget the words for a second. Zoom into the deletion. She didn't just post and delete because of typos. She deleted after the comments started piling. That deletion is a confession. And then the strike started flying within hours. That sequence, post, panic, delete, strike, is the same defense pattern of somebody who knows they lied. That's the problem with Cardi. She doesn't read between her OWN lines before posting. One more forensic point. Cardi's My The Drama album opened with 200K plus first week equivalent units. That's a number 1 on Billboard 200, no question. But pull on the bar selection. She dedicated whole songs to JT, BIA, Ice Spice, and Offset. That tells you something psychological. She built her comeback album around her whoops because she couldn't build it around herself. Her core identity on Wax is Who I Hate. That's a receipt that explains why she can't respond to Akbar in real time. She literally needs the album cycle as cover. Now let's see how the media covered all this. So watch how different outlets are framing this exact same evidence, because the spin is fascinating. Complex framed Cardi's album moment as a victory. They leaned into the very proud angle, basically painting her as the underdog clapping back at flop claims. So Complex's framing is sympathy. They want you to feel like Cardi is misunderstood. But remember that diss track heavy track list we just broke down? That framing falls apart the second you ask, okay, but why is the album built on whoops? Then hot new hip-hop took a totally different lane. They framed Akbar V as a credible aggressor with receipts, treating her loyalty to Nicki narrative as legitimate context. That's the opposite spin from Complex. Hot new hip-hop is basically telling you, this isn't a clout grab, this is a 10-year Bob cashing in respect she actually owned. Two outlets, same Akbar, opposite vibes. TMZ went straight to the diss track angle on Cardi's album. They framed it as aggressive new album rather than as an artistic statement. Notice what TMZ did not do. They didn't frame it as a return to form. They framed it as drama. Even her own supportive coverage subtly admits it's beef bait. And Rolling Stone, for the Drake side, framed his Spotify single-day record as an undeniable cultural moment with cold, clinical numbers. No spin needed. The numbers speak. That's a difference. Drake gets factual coverage. Cardi gets debate coverage. The media's framing alone tells you who's secure and who's not. Now some Cardi fans out here saying Akbar is a nobody and the beef doesn't count because she has no Billboard hits. The Minion account's been hammering that talking point all week. Some Cardi supporters are reaching trying to defend her silence. Here's why that doesn't hold up. Bardi already responded to BIA on the album, who they also called a nobody. So you can't selectively pick which nobodies matter. If you still think Cardi's silence on Akbar is strategy after all these receipts, you're just biased. The receipts don't lie. But here's what nobody is saying. Mainstream blogs want you to believe this is just another female rap beef cycle. They want you to think Cardi versus Akbar is a clout exchange between two artists at different levels, and that's the end of the story. Here's what they won't tell you. This whole moment is a public unraveling of a manufactured industry champion. I'm picking the industry politics angle because nothing else explains the pattern. Cardi B was built, not born, into the position she occupies, and the industry is now watching their investment depreciate in real time. Think about it. The same machine that pushed Megan, that pushed Lato, that briefly tried to push Ice Spice into the next Nicki slot, that's the same machine that has Cardi locked into a contract that demands constant content output. That's why the DMCA strikes fly so fast. That's why the social media manager allegedly runs the account harder than Cardi runs it herself. The Yahoo manager partnership announcement basically confirmed the business infrastructure around her. She is a product, and product get protected by legal teams, not by booth bars. That's why she can't respond to Akbar V in real time. The machine doesn't move that fast. Cardi is a puppet, and the label is pulling strings. Now overlay the Drake-Nicki moment. Both of them are 10+ years in. Neither one needs a social media manager firing DMCAs to defend their image. Their numbers do it. When you have a real catalog, you don't need a real legal team to threaten bloggers. The industry needs Cardi to remain the drama, because the second she becomes boring, the machine has no use for her. And the data from her own album tells the story. Every diss track on Am I the Drama was a machine begging for engagement. The industry wants Cardi to fail upward into permanent beef, so they can keep selling controversy. And Cardi is giving them exactly what they want. Here's the bigger picture nobody on these blogs will say out loud. Akbar V isn't just dissing Cardi. Akbar V is exposing that the throne Cardi sits on isn't real. That tweet about Princess of Rap and Queen of Atlanta? That wasn't ego. That was Akbar pointing out that nobody is actually holding those titles right now. The space is empty. The industry tried to fill it with manufactured candidates and they all flopped. We've seen this exact playbook before with the post-Lauryn Hill era, with the post-Foxy Alkim era. The industry props up a candidate. The streets reject her. The candidate gets stuck in beef cycle for relevance. Cardi is repeating the same mistakes that ended other manufactured careers. We've seen this before. She's on the losing side of history. And the Trim situation? That's part of the same machine. Trim is the cautionary tale running parallel. She got propped up as a Nicki echo, started believing the press, tweeted #crowned, and now Nicki herself is allegedly blocking her supporters. That's the industry running the same scam at a lower budget. Trim is what Cardi will look like in 5 years if she doesn't pivot to business full-time. Trim represents the same old guard tactic the culture is done with. The internet has Wikipedia-level memory now. You can't manufacture a queen anymore. The streets vote in streams and bars, not in DMCA notices. Real talk, Cardi's smartest move right now isn't a response track. It's the influencer pivot, the Yahoo partnership, the brand deals, the tour money. That is the legacy lane. But the machine won't let her pivot peacefully because the machine needs the drama for engagement. So she's stuck. Every move Cardi makes is predictable because the machine writes the script. Akbar V isn't dissing Cardi the rapper. Akbar is dissing Cardi the brand. And brands don't write back in the booth. Brands send strikes, which is exactly what's happening. And that's the truth they won't tell you. So what happens next? Scenario 1, most likely outcome. Here's what's most likely to happen in the next 60 to 90 days. Akbar V is gonna drop the full 6-peak diss track. She's already teased the bars, the title, the concept. It's coming. And when it drops, Cardi's camp is gonna do exactly what they did with BIA and JT. Nothing. No booth response. No bar for bar. Just more minion tweets and more strikes. When Cardi stays silent, she's gonna look desperate screaming at lawyers instead of at microphones. The silence is gonna hurt Cardi more than any diss track could. Mark my words. Within a month, the Cardi can't rap without ghostwriter's narrative is gonna lock in permanently in the culture. And once that narrative cements, you can't unring that bell. Scenario 2, alternative path. Now, if Cardi actually does decide to respond, it's gonna be on a future album, not in the booth in real time. We're talking 12 to 18 months out, buried as track 7 on a deluxe edition that nobody's gonna stream. And by then, Akbar V will have already moved on to 2 or 3 other moments. If Cardi tries to escalate now, she's not ready for what's coming because Akbar has been writing for a decade with no spotlight. That's a hungry pen. We saw what BIA did to Cardi on Sukihana, Energy alone. Akbar with full focus is gonna be a different problem entirely. Cardi loses in this scenario too. The minion strategy can't survive a real lyrical onslaught. Then watch what happens with Trim. Trim is gonna learn the hard way that you can't claim crown without a streaming run to back it. By the end of this year, she's gonna have to actually release a real project. And the moment she does, the Nicki comparisons will become the Nicki burial. Trim isn't ready. The I don't have to drop again tweet is gonna age like milk in the Atlanta sun. Scenario 3, industry and cultural impact. Looking at the bigger picture, this whole moment is the start of a massive correction in the female rap landscape. The Drake-Nicki Spotify moment proved one thing: longevity wins. Manufactured moments don't. So the next wave of female rap is gonna shift away from the industry plant model and toward artists with real catalogs and real loyalty, which is exactly the lane Akbar V has been quietly building in for years. This is gonna be the moment everyone remembers as when Cardi's relevance peaked and started its decline. 5 years from now, people will look back at the DMCA era as Cardi's biggest L. Cardi is watching the culture move on without her, and there's nothing she can do about it. And Drake? Drake's gonna keep stacking records, which makes every Cardi-Megan Latto attempt to be the next big rap moment look smaller and smaller by comparison. The bar is being raised in real time. Nicki is gonna keep eating, keep co-signing real ones like Akbar, and keep doing it without a single DMCA notice. That's how you know who the real ones are. Whatever happens, one thing's clear. Cardi already lost this round the second she let her minions tweet instead of recording in the booth. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed uncovering the real story, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss when we expose what everyone else is too scared to say. Ring that bell for notifications. And if you want more truth bombs like this, click on one of these videos next. Trust me, you'll want to see what we found.